the New England Patriots. But when John Harbaugh, watches the New England Patriots, he says, I don't look at the record. He says, I look at the scheme, I look at the toughness of the players, and I know the coach on the other side will have his team ready. Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator for the Ravens, said the same. That is the best coach in the National Football League. We have to match wits with him. But I think really Matthew Slater, one of the Patriots captains, put it best when he said, when you play the Ravens, you know they're going to try to hit you in the mouth. And if you don't respond, they're going to keep hitting you over and over and over again. Tough trying to hit Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson. Take a look.
Everyone know about Cam Superman. I watched Cam since everyone in the country did.
Here's Newton. Why not? Touchdown.
Yeah, he won the Heisman, won the college championship, won MVP, went to the Super Bowl. You know, I followed him a lot. Wanted to get to where he's at, and now I'm here.
He's Houdini.
Undefeated. King of the MVP. You see, I'm one of a kind. Top of the line. Champion number O-N-E.
Game recognized game. You know, he the OG, the Superman.
It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. You never know what's going to happen when the ball gets snapped. And unfortunately for both these quarterbacks, it's not been all positive after the ball that's gotten snapped. Their numbers are somewhat similar, strikingly similar in two of these categories. The passer rating, Lamar has been far more efficient. And obviously in the wins and losses department, far more successful. Guys, take it away.
All right, Kurt Warner, I ask you, that guy right there, Cam Newton, will he be able to keep up with Lamar today and the Ravens?
Well, here's my problem with the Patriots, coach, is that they don't play to Cam Newton's strengths. And what I mean by that, when Cam Newton was having his best years and taking Carolina to the Super Bowl and winning the MVP, it was about run the football first and then big plays down the field. What they have in New England is they've got a bunch of wide receivers that aren't built to stretch the field. And so everything becomes this short to intermediate ball control passing game, and that does not play into the strengths of Cam Newton. And you see it over and over again, the inaccuracies. You see the footwork, how the footwork is off. And so he can get away with it on big plays when guys are a little bit more open. But when things are in tight windows and you've got to make consistent throws, I'm going to give you a little demo here. I know you were a quarterback coach, but I've also seen you throw. So here's the bottom line, is that there's always an imaginary line between where I'm throwing the football and where I'm throwing the football to. Okay? So to my receiver. So if you're my receiver, there is an imaginary line right here. So I always want every part of my body, as much of my body as I can, to go at my target. Allows me to be more successful, right? There's less room for air. What you see with Cam Newton as you're watching there is that he's going to step way over here and then try to throw it back to the camera. So his body and his power and his momentum is all going this direction, and his arm is all that's left to make that throw and get it accurate. And so body's going here, arms going there. There is so much room for air for him to miss on those kinds of throws. So one of two things. They've got to change the way they play more to Cam's strengths, or Cam is going to have to clean up his footwork if he ever expects to be consistently accurate on those intermediate throws.
You know, it's strange to me because he's missing some receivers. You mentioned that. Julian Edelman's out. N'Keal Harry's been. I don't know if he's playing today. He's in the concussion protocol. But when he was a rookie, he threw for over 4,000 yards.
No doubt.
But maybe his supporting cast with Steve Smith Sr. and Greg Olsen maybe a little bit better. But he's got to throw the ball better along with those awesome runs. Let me throw it over now to Cynthia Freeland and Rich for Pick Six.
That's right. It's time for Pick Six, and the first item up for bids, and Cynthia Freeland's Pick Six is this Sunday night football game. Who do you have it?
I have a pretty significant Ravens win, 26-18 in this one. Lamar Jackson's projection is really interesting. 205 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, some rushing yards, 48 to be exact. That makes him quarterback number 4. So not a ton of passing yards, more on the ground, a nice, solid, steady win.
And that's the Sunday night football game. Let's start with an afternoon game with the Bengals and the Steelers.
28-20. It's not quite the Joe Burrow, keep it close, maybe upset necessarily pick quite yet, but I do have a good projection for Deontay Johnson. One of the touchdowns that Big Ben throws is to him, 4 receptions for 54 yards and that touchdown. Receptions, that's what the word.
No worries. That's Joe Burrow in that game. Tua versus Herbert in another game, and you have this one being close.
I do want to keep an eye on the injury report because there were some Dolphins defensive players that were questionable, but as of right now, 27-24 in this one. Tua's projection, 241 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and 28 rush yards. 241.
So that would be, and then as we know, Herbert's been a 300-yard machine so far in the last month and a half for sure. Raiders and Broncos, you have the silver and black taking it.
A nice 4-point win in this one, and obviously I'm listening to Kay Adams because the Jerry Jeudy pick, we're going to run that one back again. 5 receptions, 73 yards, and the touchdown again for him this week.
Okay, now let's move on to the Eagles coming off their bye week against the G-Men, and they get to 500.
They get to 500 with a 3-point win over the Giants in New York. The interesting thing here, you got to remember, Miles Sanders is back. And remember, some offensive linemen are back. That's good news for Carson Wentz. 73 rush yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions, 13 receiving yards for Sanders. Also, Carson Wentz totally playable in fantasy if you need a quarterback this week.
What does your model say wrapping up for the Bucs and the Panthers? Bounce back game, indeed.
The bounce back, but not quite like we saw in week 2 with a super convincing win. This is just a 4-point win in this one.
Okay.
Tom Brady's projection, though, over 300 passing yards. That's 311. 2 touchdowns, but he does have the 1 interception. I think we see the return of the deep ball, something that we have seen not so good results for in the past few weeks from Brady in this one.
All right, Brady going out there in the salute to service gear before he takes on
my favorite gear,
the Panthers. That's Cynthia Freeland right here on NFL Game Day morning. That rolls on with, oh my gosh, just take it away. I can't describe it.
Yes. It'll be time for Judge Michael. You got something to say, champ? Yes. Oh, you want to say? Yes, coming up. All rise. Judge Michael. He's next. Champ, good job. Good job. Yes.
Monday at 7 on NFL Network.
How will Tom Brady bounce back from getting swept by the Saints? Well, there's no historical reference we could use because he's never been swept by a divisional opponent before.
Never.
That's a fact. Until last Sunday. James Palmer this Sunday from Charlotte, North Carolina. James?
Well, thank you, Rich. Tom Brady was asked this week, and remember, it is week 10, what is the identity of this Bucs offense? And he said, we're still trying to figure that out. Now, Brady, Bruce Arians, and Byron Leftwich all believe that they are a multiple offense. They can be flexible week to week based off their opponent. But the emphasis this week, to my understanding, was getting rid of their slow starts. It's happened the last several weeks. And then when that happens, they become one-dimensional. They stop running the football. They stop running play action. And when you look at the stats, Brady's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when they run play action. A week ago against the Saints and all the issues on offense, Bruce Arians thought the protection of Tom Brady far and away the worst aspect of it. If they correct what's going wrong up front, hopefully they can be more consistent on offense.
Which Tom Brady is going to show up today, the Jekyll or the Hyde?
He loves to drive him crazy with his evil lips. My deadly trip.
Here's Hyde. Brady threw it up for grabs. Extremely dangerous. It will be a pick 6. Come on, Tommy.
Get rid of my Jekyll.
There's life for the Bucs. Perfect throw by Brady. Welcome back before you blink an eye. Here's Hyde. Looking for revenge.
In all the bad intentions.
Just can't break free.
I said you did.
Look out.
Kind of spooked Brady. There's no place to hide.
Y'all are getting out of hand with these graphics, man.
Well, we've got numbers, I guess, to support that
oh, my God.
peyote-induced video right there, I guess. When they win, Brady's looking great. When they lose, they get to him. So, there's that. Hour number 2 of NFL Game Day Morning presented by Lowe's. We put the home in home team. Rich Eisen, Steve Mariucci, Kurt Warner, Michael Irvin here for another 3 hours to take you to kickoff of the early games. There's more late games today than early games. There's 5 in the 1 o'clock Eastern window, and then when the clock strikes 4, 6 games, all leading to Sunday Night Football tonight in New England between the Ravens and the New England Patriots.
That used to be the game.
And Sunday Night Football last week, we all know, was the moment where we thought GOAT v. GOAT, and Breeze and the Saints came in and boat raced the Bucs right in front of the pirate ship and the entire country. So the Tom Brady that we talked about earlier, just hour number 1, that we saw, Kurt, in your film session, that he's not yet comfortable, or do we see Mooch, the guy who is just lighting up the Packers and other teams that we've seen so far this year?
Well, I'm saying it's going to be that guy that's lighting up the Packers, not the guy with the red eyes and all that scary stuff. I think he's going to come back and recover, and he's going to have that eye of the tiger. You know, here's the thing, though. Good young play caller, Byron Leftwich, all right? And when this game is over with, he's got to look back at the statistics and the game plan and the results and say, hey, what did we get accomplished around here with this offense? And they got to go back to basics. They can't have a game like they did last week where they're throwing the ball and Tom's getting hit and they only rush the ball really 4 times, okay? They've got to be balanced. Right. They've got to run. They got to play action pass like Kurt Warner did last week on play action pass. Remember that one of your 12 XOs? And they got to have screens and draws and high percentage passes and have a mix. Take a shot to Mike Evans now and then. But get back to what you do best, but be balanced and versatile. You can't be one-dimensional. And I think Tom will be back on track.
Yeah, I love your point. We saw it earlier from James talking about what is this offense? What is their identity? And we had that conversation when Tom Brady signed with the Bucs. We wondered what this was going to be. Is it going to be